First, our article of the day is one that's just coming out, and it's basically our quarterly report on how gold and silver performed in the quarter and year to date versus other major asset classes, along with a litany of catalysts that could potentially push prices higher this year. So the chart there shows that gold and silver had a good Q2. You can see they were up there despite having a bad June. They were down both hard in June.
Which, by the way, you predicted in your article about the seasonality of precious metals.
That's true. That's true. June is a weak month, and it played out right on schedule. So you can see there in the next chart that gold and silver are down year to date. But the real crux of this article, in my opinion, is just the catalysts that are listed there that are very compelling that could push prices potentially higher, including seasonality. So Mike, what was your reaction to this data through Q2 here?
Well, my basic reaction is that people tend to chase price. They want to buy when it's going up. And to me, the time to buy is when it's down. And you had just pointed out in your previous article, I don't know how many articles ago it was, about the seasonality and that there's usually a bottom in the June, July timeframe, something like that. And I made a purchase, and we saw a big slide in both precious metals. And I made a purchase when it hit some certain Fibonacci's and moving averages. And so the thing is, if you want to get ahead, you need to buy the dips or just dollar cost average in on a long-term plan that you've created that you don't violate. Just stick with your plan. So those are the things that I do for me. But it's interesting what this article contains, and it's interesting that the masses, the majority of people, buy at the wrong time, not the right time. But that's markets.
Yeah, good point. That's exactly what happens. So buy when prices are weak. That's the idea, and keep the big picture in mind. So, well, this next article, Mike, is from Bloomberg, and it's quite amazing, something you've talked about years ago. Venezuela is preparing to once again lop off zeros from its national currency in an attempt to simplify daily transactions. This article is worth reading because it gives you a very good insight into what can happen to a country when hyperinflation really hits. What they're going to do basically is lop off so many zeros that $1 would equal 3.2 bolivars, their national currency, instead of 3.2 million bolivars. That's how many zeros they're going to lop off. And Mike, before this, they lopped off 8 zeros the last time they did this. So it's really getting crazy. And you've talked about this, the sad situation down there before.
Yeah, actually, I predicted all of this, including the revaluation of the currency. And it was 6, 7, 8 years ago. We'll put a link in here to the video where I predicted all of this. And it's taking longer than I thought, but this usually ends in some sort of revolution. And, they've just got a 1 million bolivar note is now going to be worth 1 new bolivar. So it's a 1 million to 1 readjustment of the currency. And it says that, the 1 million bolivar note is their largest denomination of currency is now worth just 32 cents US, and it's not enough to buy a cup of coffee. One of the things I said in my book is if I told you that $1 million was, I was stressing price versus value. If I told you that gold was going to $1 million an ounce, you'd want to rush out today and buy some as quickly as possible. But if I said in the same sentence, and coffee will go to $2 million a cup, you would want to sell your gold. Well, it was, this was back when gold was 700 or something like that. You'd want to sell your gold while it was $700 an ounce and worth something, than to wait until it's $1 million an ounce and worth nothing.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now let's continue.
Well, That's what we have here, but with the currency. This isn't going to happen to gold. The exact opposite is happening to gold. And this forces, now people have a choice. They can go over to things like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and they have alternates, even though the government is making it harder and harder and harder to use alternates because they want to continue being able to transfer the wealth from the population. They are stealing all of the wealth of the population by running their country off of just deficit spending funded by printing currency. This is the result. And further down in the article, it says that last year, they had 300,000% inflation in 2019. I'm sorry. 2019 was 300,000%. And this year, it's supposed to be, it's on track, or last year, let me see, following 700, yeah, annual inflation is on track to be 2,339. So 2,500% instead of 300,000%, according to Bloomberg's Café con Leche, so coffee with milk index. So that's a big reduction, but still 2,500% loss in purchasing power in your currency every year is still hyperinflation. And then, there's an economist that makes some comments here. And the closing comment in this, I find particularly amusing that an economist could make this statement. Everyone has been affected by the huge lag in providing cash for the country. This has been the problem. It's not the solution. It is the problem to the situation. They've been providing too much cash. So they've got to stop increasing the amount of currency. And, it wouldn't be bad if they started using money instead. So those are my comments on this article. But please go and watch my predictions from so many years ago. Like I said, I tend to be early on a lot of these things.
Well, Mike, on to our tweet of the day here. Speaking of inflation, this is from the White House. And it says, planning a cookout this year, ketchup on the news, a little play on words there. According to the Farm Bureau, the cost of a 4th of July barbecue is down from last year. It's a fact you must heard. Hot dog, the Biden economic plan is working. And that's something we can all relish. A little play on all the words there. Mike, this was struck me as frankly dishonest. 2020 was a pandemic year. Everything was down last year. So to compare it to, last year isn't quite the most honest thing. And of course, inflation, their own gauge is up almost 5%, 4.99% as of last month, the most recent reading. Inflation is clearly higher. I don't think this is most people's experience that a barbecue this year is cheaper. What do you think?
Right. Well, it's just a flat out bold-faced lie. This reminds me very much of Nazi Germany, how their propaganda machine worked. If the lie is big enough and you just repeat it often enough, it becomes the truth for the people. I remember as a kid seeing newsreel clips from Russia about the bumper crops in wheat, and they were when the government has to advertise how good a job the government is doing, it's doing a lousy job. I was in China recently, and in Tiananmen, not recently, a few years back for Hidden Secrets of Money. And in Tiananmen Square, they had these giant TV screens that were probably 20 feet high and maybe 100 feet long each. Huge, huge screens that very long and, only 20 feet high or so. But they were just advertising what a great job the Chinese government was doing and how great it is to be a Chinese citizen. And in Russia, from Lenin to Brezhnev and, from the beginning of the Soviet Union to the point where the Soviet Union was completely collapsing, they were always just creating a lie on how much better everything was getting year after year. And this is it. And you said that 2020 was a deflationary year. Well, this is it says the cost of a cookout in 2021. So this is supposed to be from 4th of July 2020, when prices would have been depressed, until today. So this should be incorporating all the inflationary data. And it's saying that it's just down, down, down across the board. And so, yeah, this is government propaganda trying to convince us that they're doing a good job when they're doing a lousy job.
I'm not convinced, Mike.
Right.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.